Hello everyone, Busy Gamer Dad back again for our third and final session gameplay of the Roadwarden. So here on the Busy Gamer Dad channel, we pick a game that's a good session game, something easy to pick up, put down, pick up again at a later date without feeling like you lost too much forward momentum. We look at that game over 3 sessions, about 20-30 minutes long in each session. This week we were looking at Roadwarden. Here's our third and final video for that. I love this game personally. That's it. Is a nostalgia feel for me, like the point and click adventure games from the Mac DOS days when I learned what video gaming was and what it could be. You know, very much like a Shadowgate kind of click your own and choose your own adventure kind of game. So it's not going to resonate with everybody. It's not going to feel right to everybody, especially since, you know, the pixel graphics may not also be someone's chosen aesthetic. But the story, the narrative, I found myself just wanting to replay the game so I could get all the choices and hear all the different points of view and hear all the different topics and things like that. So I really encourage anyone who loves story-driven content to take a look at this game. It's really worth your while to take a look at it. So the first 2 videos, I made sure to show you guys this little fortune cookie statement. It's different every single time you load in, and I think that this is also another really good flavor text to kind of immerse you and bring you into the game on what you're kind of getting yourself into when you jump into the game proper. Travelers don't know people, just stories. And that's a very true statement about anything in life, and that's kind of a really big and makes you pause kind of moment. Like, yeah, travelers, you know, people don't know people, they just know their stories. So again, I love the narrative. I love the idea of this game that it puts forward. It's very, like, if you've read The Witcher, if you've read any fantasy books from like Forgotten Realm or Dragonlance, TSR, or any of those, even if you've read some, you know, pseudo fantasy game or knowledge or anything like that, pseudo fantasy literature, Lord of the Rings and all that stuff, this game would be 100% up your alley if you really like that kind. Okay, and we're right back where we left off, where we just found the inn Pelt of the North, and we're going to go through the dialogue options here, see if we can meet some fancy new people, some innkeeper that's going to give us some other job to do. I did want to do our dad joke pretty early on, just so I can get through that, and we can jump into the game proper. Being that we're on a horse, a palfrey, I want to do this joke. What did the horse say after it tripped? Help, I've fallen and I can't giddy up. There you are. There's your dad joke. But Alright, so inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not for the building, at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate. You think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gamisons. Each one of them dyed differently: yellow, green, linen, gray. So that's up here is where they're at right there. I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair pointed in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work well at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I ain't seen a horse for years now. I was just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass. Huh. Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villages spread around Havlaven. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I say. She exchanges a few words with her male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here says there really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? So being that she was pleasant to me, I will be pleasant to her. I laugh. You wouldn't believe it. The lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate the silky walk from the day that followed your first long journey when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips, then thighs. In return, the guard tells you about that time when they had to carry a friend with a flea bit with a friend their friend with bitten off legs for 3 days straight through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you, but don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles. He has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof, under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside and speak with our boss. Maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting wood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. So I'm assuming that is like right here, the little like paddock area. New shelter unlocked. Nice. If we need the inn, we can stay there. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping the floor near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky you showed up. Oh, we don't need that. You're lucky you showed up. His voice is deep and soft with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale, wormwood, bogmire, juniper berries, cat's foot. He fills a mug carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon, today maybe, and we don't drink here before the eve. I hate to see the good stuff go to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. An elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. So he's like down in here, there's the keg, there's the bar, there's the broom he leaned against the wall. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little noise. Here you go. He pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my pelt to the north doesn't belong to Havlavin. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers for dinner, but I'd need to check. So right out of the gate, he's telling us he doesn't owe us anything. He's looking at us with neutrality, that this is the north. This is not a major city, Havlavin, and he is the proprietor of the Pelt of the North and has other masters to learn or to answer to. I'll be friendly. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends with the Roadwarden. Happy to help. As Roadwarden, I'm more than capable of taking care of this cask. Nope. Hide my emotions. Won't stay long. I introduce myself. You know what? Everyone told me to be distant with him, so I'm going to do that. I'll be distant. He nods and fills another mug, this time with water. I guess there's no point in waiting for Asterion then. I'm glad to see someone taking his place. Even my crew here hits the road only if they need to see the healers of Howler's Dell. And they're more than resourceful. A road warden is always going to find work here in the north, though maybe not on the eastern road. He takes a mouthful of water and drinks it with a sigh. There are no guests here at this time, or hardly ever. I can take a short break. For a brief moment, he meets your eyes. I don't want to drink the ale. I don't know what he's done to it. I'm not saying he's a bad person, but, this is the game where you want to read the cues. I'm going to ignore it and ask a few questions. Sure, go ahead. Let's ask about the food. Because we definitely need food. We definitely need some nourishment. And we traded, I believe, one of our rations for the rope. Yeah, so we only have that. Yes, I feed them to the boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucketful. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyways. And I'll prepare something for you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's long, curved claw, almost black. You reach for the tool. Half an hour. That's quite a lot of berry picking. I won't do that. I'd like some forage. No, I'll do it. I'll work for my food. The tools are cold, but not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not the problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes. Better scare them away with the stick, and then move them with the hook, and protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bit. I'm sure you know how to be patient. Alright, I have another few set of questions to ask you. Well, we're on the hunt for Asterion. Let's see if he knows anything. Are you now? He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the table and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want to find him, so... When you asked about his intention, he measures his words. Asterion and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins, my half of the investment. He knocks on the table with a fist anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find out what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. Yeah, 50 coins? That's a lot. Could it be that Asterion stole the coins and ran away? He looks at the window and starts to play with the shutter. I just think Asterion ain't that kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb, as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers, I sent a couple of my pals to find him, no real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day, and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village to the northwest. So, White Marshes, northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So, let me know once you find anything. We may yet return to this whole investment thing. Okay, I'll think about it. So we have an update to our quest here in our journal. We can find out more about the peninsula and the surrounding lands. What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything here on the coast? The hunting grounds. Oh dear, that's not promising at all. And Havlavan officials want us to try and scout this out so they can bring civilization to the doorstep of the hunting grounds. That sounds like fertile grounds for an anime. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt, keep that in mind, but the beasts in all shapes and forms. Yep, that's about what I thought. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here, and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you only have more reason to stay at the warm stove, behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks toward the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore, that there are no more ibexes from the south, and the travelers stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. Okay, so basically he's saying this is the frontiers of, the West in the United States, when we were settling across the frontiers, where it's harsh, just harsh living, and you'd rather not. There's a two type of people system here, where you have the people that go out and adventure and the people that stay home. All right, what can we find if we go to the west? Well, there are hills nearby, then maybe a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Okay, that's good to know. Village to the west destroyed by beasts. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted, but who knows, who cares? Fair enough. He crosses his arm and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree at the edge of a swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. It's not used for hearing someone mentioning pagan. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. Well, that's probably because he doesn't care. He's lived in this area for 10 years. There's a small path south which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and mouflons and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the ape ale inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. Okay. I only know. He seems like the kind of guy that you say what you mean what you say, and then you just leave it at that. You don't try and chit chat unless he's willing to talk. You let him drive the conversation. That's what I got from all my previous interactions about what kind of character he is. I know only a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help other settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills ain't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves, and they don't pay well. Fair enough. The third village is unknown to me. White marshes set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the people, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a liar spreader. That's a good man right there. Don't spread lies. So 3 villages, really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something you would tell other travelers as well. If he would tell other travelers as well. All right, good to know. So he might be telling us because we're the Roadwarden. Maybe he's got some, he definitely wants us to find Asterion for those 50 coins. All right, to the east, we've got pretty much don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here, you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had spent a night there, and monkeys stole food and gods in their bags. It was their fault. Yeah, that was. Not tying it up. I do distance hiking, and the bears are starting to make a comeback in the area where I live, and we have to hang our foodstuffs and away from our campsite. We're not to the point where it's like a brown bear, Colorado type of hiking where you gotta have a change of clothes when you eat and hang everything out from, like 30 to 100 feet away from your tent and everything like that, so the bears don't come after you yet. But thankfully, that's remains to be seen about it all. Almost no soul lives there. One day, all the roads will be swallowed up by the trees again. Furthest my team ever got was the home of the Enchantress. Ooh, just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east, you'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit. Eudocia. I don't even know how she survives there. Well, she's an enchantress. But if you don't have decent coin, you won't get much there. Okay, fair enough. Everybody revolves around money, even though this is so far away from the world, where money would be somewhat useful. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects to a tower and a monastery, a shortcut between the two sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. All right, good to know. And then, yep, this is, we're on a peninsula. There's got to be a coast somewhere. I only know about another inn. Okay, so there's a third inn. So we have the Ape Ale. We have the Pelt of the North. It's far away from here, maybe a day or on foot, a bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place, close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. That's all I need. Good to know. Is there anything I could use in my job? Any rumors worth sharing? He crosses his arm. I don't like talking about people. Ah, okay. And I don't know you. So basically, yeah. He crosses his arms. I don't like talking about people who ain't nearby, but you know what you're doing. Who are you wondering about? Tell me about. So now we have to enter in people's names. So let me see if I can enter in Tulia and see if he knows anything about her. I ain't seen Tulia in quite some time. Since her squad vanished in the fogs, she's been careful. Glad to see she's alive. She's too inexperienced to lead others in battle, I think. He shrugs. Like most people she needs to follow others. But she already knows that. There's nothing worse than a fighter too stupid to limit their ambitions. Alright, fair enough. So that's one of the interactive portions of the game that I wanted to make sure you guys saw too, where you've got to be understanding of who you have in your we'll say playbook to talk about and to find more information about. And that's where the archive I'm sorry, not the archive, the journal comes into play, because you can keep a running list about everything and you can find out more. And see, according to Pelt's innkeeper, she's more efficient when she has someone ordering her. So it added and filled out our information here. So it's really important that you use the journal every chance you can to make sure you're asking and staying on point, and also to refamiliarize yourself. If you pick this game up after a week of not playing it, you can see what quests you're on, where you're at with those quests, what you're doing, and pick up where you had left off. So now, if I talk about... oh, that is not how you spell his name. Well, not a large man, though broad-shouldered, red hair and beard. I don't know what to say. He raises a muscle arm and places a hand on the back of his head. He was a fine fellow, but I doubt he's alive. He's always tried to stay away from things, let's say. People knew him, but he didn't really have allies. Maybe the locals know what happened to him, yet decided not to help him, or they wanted to get rid of him. He leans forward, looks at his boots. Asterion was a fine man, a quiet man, but not dumb. He aided me many times, not for free, of course. When he couldn't finish the job, it was for damn good reasons. And you know what? He looks you right in the eye. He was scrupulous, patient. I'd be shocked if he died because of some mistake of his. Maybe the bandits got him. Why not? So now that filled out our journal about Asterion. It added another paragraph right here. Again, it's like, this is one of the games, I love this type of gameplay. I love this type of investigative reporting almost, or something like that. So let's see here. He's a shop. He's a new trader. I can go pick a few things for you, some berries, etc. I'm going to speed through this because I want to keep the storyline going a little bit. Let me have a look. So, yep, so an elk fur, some quarrels, box of soap. Oh, that's probably very nice to have in this type of environment. And he has food rations, but we're going to get some food rations, and we have some. How much do we have? We have 5. I'm going to buy one of those. Yeah, buy 3 of those. Okay, good. So I bought those. And then we're going to get another meal, which will be good. Okay, awesome. And then I think I'm going to save the rest of my money. I don't think we have anything to sell to him. So let's go back outside. And we can go forage for berries. We can approach the guards. Head to the armor. Our gamison is a little beat up. Go to the well. Let's go to the well. Your recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from the rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying a cold drink he drew from the bucket. He tells you to use as much water as is necessary. You at least have one piece of bathing equipment. Oh, to get more out of this place. Okay, so I'm going to step away. I'm going to go back to the inn. I'm going to buy that. And now that's in our inventory. And then I'm going to step outside. And then I'm going to go back to the well. And we can wash our clothes now. Okay. Alright. Oak soap to get cleaner. Let's do it. Nice, and we feel a little bit better. Splashing yourself with cold water from the bucket, taking away your smell. Just remove a towel and sweat. And alright, there we are. That's all we can hope for, I suppose. Let's step away. Let's approach the guards. So the key to this game is information. If you don't like poking around for more information and talking with people and trying to get as much knowledge as you can about the world and the story, you may not have as good a time with this game, because it is a very narrative driven game. It is very story heavy. It's literally a text game. It's like you're playing a book. So that's a big turnoff for a lot of people. I get it, but whenever I'm in the mood for something that's like this kind of nitty gritty thing, where I can't play a board game like a D&D game, or like a Gloomhaven game or Frosthaven game or something like that, or like any of those really heavy narrative games that you have to pay attention to, I find myself wanting to play one of these style games, and these are just a lot of fun for me. Let's see here. So the woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large or as the dark ones in the forest. It responds to the touch of a human hand and brush for grateful grunts and repeated twitches of its hind foot. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that it would charge and leave Soldal dead in the breath. Fair enough. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the board's disappointment. So the new Roadwarden, she points at the window with her chin, forestalling the question. We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we could use some assistance. So she was listening in on the window. So that's what that context is. She may be about 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing her boots and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back, but maintains her focus. How about a game or two? We have a bit of time, and we can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe we'll get a couple of coins. Maybe you'll lose. She winks. You could play dice or throw axes at a target. So we are a fighter. We could do the axe throwing. We don't really have time. I don't gamble. You know what? Axe throwing. Let's try it. Let's see here. You arrive, and especially the dragon bone you pull out are cheerfully welcomed. The guards prepare a couple of wooden planks which are leaned against the wall. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. They're going to be 4 participants and 8 rounds. You aim at the target drawn with charcoal. The person whose axe lands the closest to the center of the circle gets a point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. The person who has the most points at the end of the last round, it becomes the winner. I blend in with the group. Well, we could use force or direct threat. That seems interesting, and I don't know if I want to do that. You talk a lot, but there's also don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimistic strategies. Soldal and Tula's camp are also brought up. When you ask about the roads of the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. Just don't spill any. The boar may get sick, says the opponent with one arm. As a guest, you start with the first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the middle of the painted target and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud. It makes it really difficult for the other players to outperform you. A minute later, you've won the first round, but you can't expect your luck to change. Okay, well, I don't want to use force. All I can do is try my best. You know what? Let's do it. For the sake of the playthrough, for the sake of the content, we can do it. After getting your 4th point, the other players nod with respect. Quite a score. You hear from the guard in yellow armor as she hands you your dragon bones. The other participants carry away the remaining planks. You've already played today. Yep, so we just made $3. That's not bad. Gotta go in the woods. We've got to forage for these berries. But I think that's where we're gonna have to end the video. This was our third and final session with Roadwarden, a game that I fell in love with when I first started playing it. It hit all the nostalgic notes for me, and I really can't recommend this game enough for people who are from, my era, who know what I'm talking about when I say like the MS DOS games or the Mac games, like the Shadow Gates or the Click Adventure games, the text-based games. And this is a wonderful narrative. You're playing like The Witcher, essentially. You're playing like Lord of the Rings, but in a totally different world that is akin to the Lord of the Rings. Like there's griffins and magic and things like that, or anything from Forgotten Realms or Dungeons and Dragons. But it's also like that choose your own adventure book. And whenever I get the itch to play one of these styles of games, this is what I always come back through. Let me know what you guys think about this game. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. But if not, your viewership and just stopping by was enough for me. Thank you very much for taking the time out to do so. We'll catch you in the next one. Next week we'll have a new session gameplay to go over. We'll see you there.